Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Whatever time you happen to be watching this, and if today's your birthday, happy birthday. I got that from, what's his name? No, I'm kidding. Shout out to Eric the car guy. Anyway, so we're back on the FD, obviously. But today, we look at parts, more parts. Let's start here. Basic stuff. 20W50, conventional. That's what we're running. If you're driving an FD, it's what you should also be running. Oil metering pump, enabled, conventional. If you have no oil metering pump, you can run synthetic. But, highly advise you, do your own research. There's a wealth of information on RX-7 Club. Check it out. Oil filter. These are the ones I use. Mobile 1 M108A. New fuel filter. New vibrant gaskets. Brand new. Key feature of these graphite gaskets is this ring right here. It's called a flame ring. Look it up. That's what you want with your gaskets. For our diff and trans, nothing less than MT90 and 7590 for the diff. Inside of this big box is an oil pan brace. We have our AEM fuel pump here. Not E85 or anything like that, but it is nice. I think it's like a 320 or something like that. Brand new set of OEM plug wires. We have our DEI heat wrap, authentic DEI heat wrap, because depending on where you buy this from, you can get the fake stuff, and that's the stuff that catches on fire and causes your car to burn down. So please, buy from authorized sellers. Do not buy it if the price seems to be too low. AEM wideband X series. We have a brand new air filter in here for the stock airbox, because for now that's what we're using until we go V-mount. We have the Dashworks fuel pump rewire kit. There's a brand new clutch master or slave in here, one of the two. Power FC, of course. Profec B-Spec 2 boost controller. The Alex Rodriguez ABS delete kit. We have our stainless clutch line, stainless brake line, stainless oil metering pump lines, because he wants to keep the oil metering pump. This is a new AC dryer. And then in this box here, boom, belt. The lock, collar, and ring for the clutch. Shifter rebuild stuff. Another belt. This is the plug for the fast-acting air temperature sensor, which we're upgrading to. Plug and play, of course. The pulsation damper delete fitting. 4 Burr 9 EQP spark plugs. And the brand new clutch slave. And then, of course, in that box there, a whole new engine. But we're not going to be installing any of that today. Haha, been duped. Kidding. What we're actually going to do is we're going to disassemble the entire motor. Strip it all the way down to a bare keg. I already took the clutch off just to make sure. The new motor comes with a new flywheel, so it doesn't really matter the condition of this one. But it is good, somewhat. The clutch has a sticker on it that says it was replaced, or not replaced, but a production date of 97. And also the life left on this clutch is ample. So we're going to go ahead and use it until later, because he plans on going single, and then he's going to upgrade the clutch for that, of course, because this one is likely won't be able to handle it. So pretty straightforward day. Tear this whole thing down, get everything taken off, inspected, maybe start cleaning some stuff, and get ready, because probably tomorrow, we're going to unbox that new motor and probably start putting stuff on it, because that's the stage we're at. But we also have to clean up this engine bay, because all this brown that you see, that is dust. And that one spot right there is when I was removing the downpipe. You can see how much came off just from my hands rubbing it. So the engine bay needs to be cleaned. A lot of stuff needs to be cleaned. Alright, quick intermission now that the intake manifold is off. I want to show what it actually looks like under here. Because people, I try to make the point that you guys, fellow rotary owners with the REW, delete all of this. Every last bit of it. None of it is needed. It's all crap. Look at this. You know what it's like to work on this? To perform maintenance on this? To troubleshoot this? And for what? There's no reason. Delete all of this. As much of a mess as this looks on camera, for those who have never seen this before, this is what it looks like in real life. In fact, it actually looks worse. That's why I always advise people to take care of all of this crap, get it out of the way, just remove it, full non-sequential. You have none of this. And I'll show it to you once we build up the new motor, comparatively, what the top of the motor will look like, along with the bottom of the intake manifold. So this is a factory setup with the intake manifold removed, just a big cluster of stuff. Now, this is what the bottom of the intake manifold looks like in factory setup. Not bad, but still a bunch of stuff on here that doesn't need to be there. But you get the point. So pressing on, see this torn down here. We're about 30% of the way there. Alright, we're taking a jump forward. I went ahead and prepped all the parts. I removed everything we're not using. I put all the trash in a box. Everything is all separated. Now, letting you guys know, I'm about to drop a lot of info. A whole lot. If you don't own an FD or plan to, or if you just don't want to hear it, skip to the timestamp below and you can go through all of this. What I'm about to explain is all the deletes, all the simplifications, and all of the modifications that we're doing for the for this full non-sequential setup. Not all of it is necessary, but if you want to go all the way, and like I said in the beginning, my personal ultimate setup, do all this stuff. There's no downside to it, and it only makes your life easier. But yeah, skip to the timestamp if you don't want to hear it. Otherwise, get ready. So, starting with the upper intake manifold. The double throttle system. What it is, it's a safety so that you don't hurt the car when the water temp is low. Most modern cars have this built in now electronically, but back in the day it was manual. And this was the actuator here that would sit on the back. And there's actually this rod that goes through here, and there's two throttle plates that are actually on it, and they don't allow you to floor it when the engine's cold. Once it heats up, it opens and blah blah blah, solenoids, crap. So that's gone now. We don't need that because we're not idiots and we know better. So we remove that, and now we have slightly more free-flowing exhaust because we don't have two throttle plates in the way. Boom, that's one. This is the ISCV. We're not deleting that. I just took it off because I'm taking this to get welded because we deleted the EGR and the AWS. So normally you would put block-off plates on this, but the way it stands, the block-off plate kit now, for whatever reason, is extremely expensive. So we're not going to go that route. Instead, we're just going to weld this one hole here because the air would come in here, go through the EGR, out the AWS, and out. So this hole right here is just a pass-through, so it doesn't go anywhere. So all you need to do is weld this one hole, and then the whole thing is gone. Alternatively, if you get a JDM upper intake manifold, it doesn't have this entire section. It's just smooth all the way through, and you don't got to worry about that at all. So that's a better route to go about it. And that's all we're doing for the upper intake manifold. Alright, for the filler neck. Fortunately, he already had the AST delete cap, which is the FC cap. So this nipple here is worthless. So instead of capping it and having it front and center, we're going to get this removed and weld it. Or they're going to remove it, tap it, and put a plug or something like that. This is the water level sensor that goes here. We're not deleting that, although, I mean, I did. but that's just me. But we're not deleting that. That just lets you know when your water level is below this point to add more. Alright, next, the injectors. They've been sitting for 5 years in a barn with who knows what in them. So we're not going to take any chances. We're going to take these over to Boost Lab and we're going to get those cleaned and flow tested so that they're nice and beautiful. Moving on. I already disassembled the turbos. So what we have here is your front turbo, your primary. And what's going to happen with this, this flapper door right here is part of the sequential system. And when going non-sequential, you don't need it. The shortcut way to go about it is to actually just wire it open so that it's in the sequential secondary turbo open position, which is open. But we're not going to do that. Instead, we're going to get this whole entire thing removed and welded shut. And I could show you how that works. It's pretty simple. So normally there's a plate that goes right here, which is this. That will go right there like that. But what this door does is it opens and closes, and when it's closed, oh, sorry, this is the secondary turbo. But when it's closed, the as you can see, the exhaust gas doesn't go through. It actually will hit that and go directly out the manifold, or out the exhaust, and won't get used. But once you kick over into the secondary, then it opens and it goes through and comes out and goes to the secondary. So it actually works. So you see my finger, that's the gate there. But when it's closed, it doesn't go anywhere. That's how that works. But if you just wire it open, it just becomes something of a resistance in there, and it's impeding the flow of exhaust gas, and there's just no reason for it to be there. So a better way to go about it is to remove the door entirely. Exact same thing with the manifold itself, but you can see this door is much bigger. So same thing, normally wire it open, blah blah blah. Secondary, we're removing it and getting it welded shut. Next, rat's nest, garbage, all of it. But I will show you what we need from it so that we can mount the coil packs back on top of the motor, but we'll get to that later. The throttle body itself, we're not removing anything off of this. You can delete the fast idle wax valve, whatever, but I'm not going to, because I'm not. You don't need it, it doesn't do anything, it's just dead weight, but you can take it off if you want. That's what these water lines here, coming from the bottom and the top, were for. And we're also deleting those because we also don't need that. But that's all we're doing with the throttle body. This is the middle section of the turbo. The only reason why I took these off, fortunately these turbos are brand new. I took these off because I wanted to break the torque on these bolts and put anti-seize on them. So in the future, which will never happen, but if we ever need to take these turbos off again, it's not going to be difficult, and there's a lot less likelihood of these breaking. This is the thermostat. It looks brand new, so we're going to reuse it. Same with the gasket. This is the water level sensor I was talking about. IACV, delete cap, that's the cap I showed you. These are the water lines and oil lines off the turbo, and that's the heat shield. Alright, moving on. Alright, this is the primary turbo. It's got the wastegate on it. So what we're doing with this, with the non-sequential setup, is we're going to port the wastegate. And what that is you can see, that's the wastegate there. It's internally gated, of course. The hole is the size that it is, but with the non-sequential setup, we're actually going to make that hole bigger. Much bigger. And you can kind of see the oil ring around it, and that's how far out we're actually going to go to make this bigger. So we can have better boost. And that's, I'm going to leave it at that. This is the AC compressor. We're not doing anything with that. Intake, alternator, heat shield for the manifold, coil packs, oil metering pump, rear turbo intake, alternator, oil filler neck. Quick note, there is an O-ring on the bottom of this, or at least there's supposed to be. If you ever find yourself with a weird oil leak or oil seepage that you can't find in this area, it's likely coming from there. Replace it. Also, there is supposed to be this metal cap on top of it. A lot of oil necks don't have it, which is fine, but if you don't, use a large head washer so you don't crack this, because this whole thing is plastic. We got the intake arm here. We're not going to do anything with this except for cap that, because that's where the AWS went. The lower intake manifold, the EGR went here. yeah, the EGR went here, and we're not using the EGR anymore, obviously. So we're gonna need to get this welded as well. But I may just put a block off plate on that because I think I have one, and I'll check. Same thing with all these other ports. It's all for AWS, air valves, and all sorts of emissions crap. These pipes, in case you didn't know, don't need to be capped. They literally just pass through the manifold and don't actually enter the airstream. They run right through this channel here. So you can leave these open, or if you want a cleaner look, you can remove and weld them. There are 2 JDM versions of this. One has 3 nipples instead of 4, and another one just has this completely blank. I believe that's the 96 Plus, when they switched over to the black box and deleted the rat's nest. Oh, also with the upper intake manifold, this is the factory air temp sensor. It's a closed element, and we're switching to the fast reacting one, which is an open element. So yeah, it's just, it threads in straight, and that's it. Keep the little washer because you're gonna want to transfer that over, and you'll be fine. We have nipples here. We're gonna cap them, maybe, because it's extra air. It comes out here on this port. There's extra air to help with fuel atomization or something. I don't know. But yeah, AWS one here. We're gonna cap that off. The filler neck, or I mean the water pump housing, we're not gonna do any mods to. The only thing we don't need is this upper nipple. You have the option to either remove this and weld it shut, remove it, tap it and put a plug, or just put a cap over the nipple, which is what we're gonna do. We're gonna replace the gasket onto the water pump too, and that's all for that. Fuel rail. So what normally goes here is the fuel pulsation dampener. It does nothing. There's no consequence to removing it other than deleting one more thing that can fail and cause fire, which there is record of happening. So just delete it because it doesn't do anything, and go about living your life. That was that fitting I showed you earlier. We just tap this, put the fitting in, and we're done. Call that a day. This is the stock fuel pressure regulator that stays, of course, and this is a fuel temp sensor. And that's all we're doing with this. And then these are the caps and the hardware for the fuel rail. Power steering. Oh, and everything in this box is trash. If I didn't go over it, or you don't see it, it's in this box. And all of everything in this box is garbage. So use that as a reference. I don't want to pull all this crap out because that's exactly what it is. It's crap. Don't worry about it. Anyway, that was the primary goal for today, was to get the motor stripped down, get all the parts prepped. I was going to do some cleaning, but yeah, we're going to take all this stuff to get welded, to boost lab and all everything else. And once we get it all back, but in the meantime, we're going to work on all the other stuff. Once we get everything back, then we could fully assemble the new motor and go from there. We're still waiting for a few small things to come in the mail, which is no big deal, really. And yeah, progress is going great. We're rocking. So that'll be the end of this video. Thanks for sticking around. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you saw something. Hope you learned something. You know, the 13B isn't very big. It's a very small motor, 1.3 liters. I think it was like 80 or 70 cubic inches or something like that. Very small. It's not that big. Yeah. But thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Check us out on our social media pages, Facebook and Instagram. And come by, visit the shop. You know, okay, look around, give you a tour. Don't be shy. Not going to hurt you. But stick around for the next episode where we get parts back, unbox that motor, and start reassembly. That's going to be the exciting stuff. So, thanks for watching. See you next time.